Okay, let's see if we can get this done correctly now. I've shot this video once before and I really hated the way that it turned out. So I'm going to try to redo this and talk to you guys about everything that's happened on this season of The Real Housewives of Orange County so far and see if I can deliver my opinions in a way that isn't completely gut-wrenchingly cringy. Let's get to it.
I don't do regrets. I'm trying to learn from my lessons, but do I get it yet? I want to set an example, but I'm not sure I can handle all my demons. I'm thinking that I should court a vet. I fight for all respect. I'm working overtime to keep in my head. I understand I'll get the love when I'm dead. So my focus is red. Choose the blackout on what's keeping me chosen. I've been the token, now the back is ahead. On my soapbox, chucking, showing out.
Greetings, constituents. Welcome back to the town hall. I am Jordan Renee, your local congresswoman, and this is Georgia, Carolina. If you're new here, thank you so much for visiting and touring our lovely community. Today, I am going to be reshooting the video that I made about the catch up on everything that's happened on this season of The Real Housewives of Orange County so far. And I want to talk about, just the things that have happened this season that have really stuck out to me. I'm not going to go episode by episode to recap every single thing that's happened on each episode, but I am going to try to jump into all of the main plot points of the storylines of the season and really just try to talk about all of the things that have stood out to me. So I'm going to start with Heather being brought back as Captain Save-A-Ho of Orange County. Mind you, if anybody is going to do the job, it's going to be Heather. If anybody is going to, if they were going to put anybody in that type of role to come back and save the show and really be the fan favorite that everybody is going to come back and watch Orange County for now that Kelly Dodd is gone, that is going to be the last time I say her name. We will not give her life on this channel. She's the right choice to do it, right? Mind you, that can go one of two ways, because Heather can either use that to her advantage and basically play God. She can basically come in and be elitist and act like she is the ace boon coon and the head of the Orange County, and she could do that, right? And it could go to her head. Or she could be the one who actually has the lifestyle and the stories and the interesting family members to really bring a new type of dynamic to Orange County. And I think she chose the latter, because while we've had some moments where it does seem like she's teetering on that line of like, oh, I'm gonna take this too far. Like when she was looking at Shannon and was like, if you say anything else about my family, it's gonna cost you so much. It was very like soap opera. It was very Days of Our Lives. And mind you, she's an actress, so I'm sure a little bit of that kind of seeps through when she's on camera. I'm sure there's a little bit of that after being in this industry for so long where it kind of crosses lines. But it was a bit much. And Shannon looked like she was trying to figure out, like, wait, are we joking? Like, Shannon really looked like she did not know if Heather was serious or not. But I understood where she was coming from. The whole, either way, I'm glad to have her back. I will say that. I'm glad to have Heather back. She's giving me everything I need. She's giving me everything that the fans wanted. She's giving me everything that every type of fan wanted. Because I'm not the type of fan that just loves the housewife because of them having money and being rich and luxurious and like having that lifestyle. I'm not necessarily that type of housewives fan. I'm the type of housewives fan that's relatable to people. So even if you are rich, if you're not relatable to me, then I don't really like you. So Heather is that type of person where she and her family is also relatable. And they kind of just, with all of their wealth and money and her being one of the most fanciest, fancy schmancy, fancy Nancy type of women, she is still someone who is relatable in some way, and she still pulls me as a regular person, right? But like I was saying earlier, it's what I'm worried about is what I think would happen is if they brought LVP back to Beverly Hills. They would make the entire season about her return, and I feel like LVP would come back and kind of throw it in the girls' faces and be like, "Ha, I knew you couldn't do it without me. You all needed me to be here for this show to work." That's not a British accent. That's just me being an elitist asshole. But like I thought that Heather may come back and give that, right? I'm glad that she did it, even though she has her moments. Like, when they ask you to do a house tour, it's going to look very pretentious. Anybody who does a house tour, it's almost guaranteed to make you look like an asshole, because it's guaranteed to make you look like you're bragging, right? So Heather doing the house tour, you know, it is what it is. My favorite part of that was seeing Gina's reaction. Gina is the voice of the people for me. Gina is the MVP of Orange County, because she is like a regular, degular, schmegula, degular girl. Like, I love her so much. She's the only one that I want to call up and really go have a drink with, like, in real life. She is just so normal, and she comes off as the voice of the people. And she just, like, even when she first came on with her bad weaves. Now, mind you, she only had bad weaves for like one season, I think. Like, I think she only really had a bad weave for one season. But she was going through a lot, so I'll give her a pass. Gina came on the show kind of like the people's champ. She came on the show like speaking for all of us watching the show. Like, she kind of had the perspective of the viewer. And that, I'm glad to see that hasn't really changed. I'm glad to see that hasn't really changed. I need y'all to turn that. Mess around and get me doggone copyright struck playing all that. Hi. So, Gina Speaks for the People was my point. I love the way that she handled that situation with the whole lawsuit thing. The only thing that I wish that they would have done would be actually get the information from Nicole before they even bothered to take it to Heather, because there's a reason why she's still friends with Heather, or there was a reason why Heather was still friends with Noella after knowing this information, after allegedly knowing this information. Little did we know, she didn't even know, because Nicole didn't even tell her. I think I might have been saying Noella, but Nicole she never mentioned to her that she sued Terry back in the day. I'm guessing either before they were married or while they were married or whatever. That really doesn't matter. But I wish that they would have gone to her first and just talked to her about it, because they were under the assumption that she was still friends with Heather. So I wish that they would have just gone to her and been like, so what happened? Because Shannon is saying this, and I don't want it to get between you and Heather's friendship if it's really nothing. So can you just squash it before, you know, it even has to come in between their marriage or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she could have just said right then and there, you know, I was forced into it by my lawyers. I really didn't want to do it, blah, 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 blah. And it could have just been nothing. But she ran and told Heather first, and then now it became this big whole thing, right? And the beef really could have been between Gina and Shannon the whole time, instead of Heather and Shannon. Right? Now, mind you, Shannon, she should have just went straight to Heather from the damn beginning, when Heather came to her and asked her, you know, about this girl, Nicole, in the first place. Once Heather came to her and confirmed that was the same Nicole, she should have instantly been like, okay, well, this is what I heard about her. So I just, you know, didn't think that it would be the same person because of this. But if that's not a thing, then it's not a thing, whatever. And then Heather would have realized she didn't know this. She would have gone to Nicole, and Nicole would have straightened it out. And if Heather would have chosen to have a problem with Nicole, she could have made that decision on her own. And Shannon wouldn't have looked as messy. Do you get what I mean? It just all seems like bad choices were made and stupid decisions were made, all for the sake of having a good television show. But you really still would have had as good a television show, and you would have looked better on the tail end of the situation had you just went to the people you were supposed to go to in the first place and get the information that you kind of needed to present to somebody, that kind of information. Like, if you're gonna come to somebody and tell them that type of secret or expose that type of thing, you really should have all of your facts together before you even bother to pull them to the side. Do you get what I'm saying? But Shannon has been proven time and time again to be really messy and be really sneaky and be orchestrating these situations off camera in these manipulated conversations with cast members so that they can go into a situation under a certain type of assumption. And I don't rock with Shannon because of that, because she isolates herself and then wonders why she doesn't have any friends, or she wonders why she's having these conflicts with these women. And then all of a sudden on the tail end, when it's too late, she has these epiphanies of how she's had these lapses in judgment. And it's like, Shannon, had Shannon just gone to Heather before she went to Gina and Emily, this wouldn't have been an issue. And even if she did, if Gina would have gone to Nicole before she went to Heather, then this wouldn't have been an issue. Mind you, Gina had better intentions in that situation, but you still went to the wrong person first. Noella and her husband. Listen, Noella and Sweet James. Listen. First of all, I want to say that I feel terrible that this has happened to her. And I want to say that it sucks that this is the way that her marriage is ending, especially because they've been together for so long. They were together for 6 years. They were married for 2 of those years. And then all of a sudden he goes through an issue with the IRS and abandons her and her son to go to Mexico and then Mykonos. I think Mexico. Was that where he went first? Y'all correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. That's insane, the way that he did it. First the lawyer throws the paper in the mother-in-law's face, which is just blatantly disrespectful and just crazy on its own. But then to find out that he actually got to serve her directly by sending her flowers, and the emotional mental manipulation of that. Like, he's already abandoned her. So now when she thinks that maybe her husband is trying to send her an olive branch, he's sending her divorce papers. That is some of the most malicious, maniacal behavior that I have ever seen from a spouse to another spouse. That is crazy to me. Like, and I don't understand the correlation of him having trouble with the IRS and then him filing for divorce. Like, what was the reason? What was the reason? What was the reason? Like, I don't understand. She was willing to ride it out with him. Like, she came up with a whole situation. She came up with a whole solution to solve their problem. And he, in turn, said that he wanted to divorce her. That is insane to me. Like, I don't understand how a woman steps up and shows you that she's willing to ride it out with you and you divorce her. For what? Like, I need some type of, where's that missing puzzle piece? Because there's something that's not being said here. Shane finally passing the bar. Listen, I don't want to be messy and say that it's, really because they lowered the required score for you to pass. I don't want to say that. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that the timing of him taking the test just happened to align with the score change. Not that he knew that ahead of time. I'm not going to say that that's why he took the test. I'm not going to say that. But it is convenient. Congratulations, Shane. The whole reason for them having Shane's party, I guess, was for them to argue about little petty shit. Because I don't understand what the issue is really between Noella and Heather. Because something else gets brought into the mix at some point. I can't remember if it was at that party or not. But I don't understand why Noella is shading Heather so hard. Like, first she calls her a fake bitch, then she says she's not to be trusted, and then when Heather confronts her about it, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I was just drunk and I was really upset and I was going through something and and it's like, but what does Heather have to do with that though? Like, why wouldn't you be hurling these insults at Sweet James? Why wouldn't you be hurling these insults at the person who threw the divorce papers in your mother's face? Like, why wouldn't you be angry at the IRS? Like, why are you upset with Heather? And what did Heather do to warrant being called a fake bitch and for you to say she's not to be trusted? Like, I'm with Heather. I'm trying to figure out what's the correlation between your issues with your husband and your feelings about her as an individual. That just doesn't seem to make any sense. This whole Cabo trip, mind you, Noella still coming to Max's book release party, which, by the way, let me step in right here and say that I want to commend Max for being such a strong and eloquent individual to not only gracefully come out on your own terms, but then turn that into a podcast and then subsequently turn that into a book. The way that she is taking control of her own narrative and taking control of her own power, I am motivated and inspired by that. Do you know what I mean? I just, sadly happened to recognize the difference in the circumstances in which she was able to utilize that power. And I'm not saying that it has anything to do with her white privilege or anything like that. It has nothing to do with that. For me, it's about her having a strong support system and me not. Right? Because if she was Black and she had the same support system, this would have been able to turn out the same way. Do you get what I'm saying? I am inspired by her, and I appreciate her being so willing to open up and share this much of her story on the show because she has the book. She could just be like, "Hey, yo, the show is my mom's deal. Here's my podcast, here's my book," and let me, not be on that type of platform. But she understands the power of marketing, so I can appreciate it. I want to close the video with Emily, but before I do that, let's jump back to Noella being blessed to be at this book release party. Yeah, she was just blessed to be there because she already had the invitation, and then Heather confronted her about calling her a fake bitch and said she's not to be trusted, and then says she don't want to be friends with her ass and threw out. Right? Okay, cool. So she comes to the party. She brings the gift. It's all good. Thanks to Emily's drunk ass, now she finds out that everybody's going on a trip to Cabo but her and Shannon. So, whatever. It is what it is. Emily, is it just me? Or does it seem like Emily is really playing the game? It just really looks like Emily is really playing the game. Like, she is moving chess pieces this season. Like, I like the way that Nicole, who, by the way, you're a shitty friend, Nicole. You are a really shitty friend, and I would never call you to console me if I was ever going through anything. Because the way that you acted in that restaurant was 100% deplorable with her. You were no type of support system for her. All you did was sit there and get some camera time and embarrass that girl even more while she sat there and cried about her husband. You are disgusting for the way that you treated her, because you could not step outside of your own vanity and the way that people were looking at you or her or whatever. You cannot step outside of image and vanity and all of that other surface bullshit to be there for somebody that you call your friend. Now, mind you, stepping back into her telling Emily where she can go and how fast when Emily was like, "Girl, I've been your friend all night," and she was like, "Girl, I've known you for 20 minutes. Calm down." I do think that Emily is playing the game, and she's deliberately moving chess pieces, trying to manipulate the new girls and see who she can move around and see what she can play. Because I think that Emily is now used to the game, and she's now in full-blown housewife mode. So in this season, she's coming in and she's purposely getting to know the new girls. She's reaching out to them. She's overextending herself a little bit much, because she's talking about the girls behind her back and then going and making up with them the next day and acting like, oh, like nothing ever happened. Like that moment when she was like, "Oh, if I get a little drunk or you get a little drunk and I say something about you, no, it's not that serious." Like, girl, what? You're covering your ass ahead of time when you know you gonna shade that girl later on? Okay. It just seems like Emily's moves are very calculated. And I'm not going to say too much more on that. I'm just going to say watch her. That's really it. I'm just going to say watch her because her stunts are as pulled as her face is this season. And I'm going to close with that. I want to show my appreciation rather to every single one of you who is tuning into this video. I wanted to make sure that I gave you guys some lighter content since I know that I've been hitting you guys with really heavy subject matter the past few videos. And, you know, on top of me being gone for almost 2 months and to come back with really hard hitting subjects, I know it's probably a lot. So I wanted to make sure that I come back and give you guys something, you know, of substance, but still lighthearted as well. And so I wanted to make sure to give you guys this catch up on the Real Housewives of Orange County so far this season, because even though I haven't been making videos recapping each episode, I have been watching. And I also want to give you guys a Real Housewives of Salt Lake City catch up video because I did start recapping that season, that show this season. I did start recapping that season of that show, and during my break I kind of missed it, but I have caught up on the episodes, so I do want to give you guys a catch up on that too, because I hate to say it, but that's why I've been calling you guys the citizens and the constituents, because mind you, we started off as the Baby Gorgeous gang, and I will appreciate the moment in time that was, because that was truly a moment, that was truly a movement, and that was truly like some things that were happening, right? While I appreciate that, throughout the progression of this season, the way that Lisa Barlow has moved has not been attractive to me. And so I am not pleased with her chess gamery this season. And while she is performing optimal housewives stunts and shows, the morality of her moves and the way that she's moving, I don't vibe with. So there's some things that we have to talk about when it comes to the Baby Gorgeous gang and how we are now moving into the citizens and the constituents. I prefer constituents, but I also want to offer the choice of citizens. So I'm going to post a poll later and see what you guys think. But with that being said, thank you guys. Thank you to all my constituents. Thank you to all my tourists for coming and visiting us in Georgia, Carolina. I hope you enjoyed your time here with us today, and I hope you come back. If you like the video, please like the video and share, subscribe, do all of the things, hit the notification bell, do all of the things that your favorite YouTubers tell you to do in their videos. I will be back with a Salt Lake City recap soon, and we'll be talking about all the other shows at some point. But yeah, let me know if what you guys want to hear me talk about in the comments, if there's anything else you want me to specifically address that I haven't been talking about, and I'll see you guys at the next town hall meeting. Peace.